Just letting you know, my dogs are snoring on my bed, so sorry if you hear that in the background, but they need their sleep. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be sharing with you my October TBR. So this month I've tried to pare back my readathons and only pick one. That is a major improvement for me because I always want to do all the readathons all the time, but alas, there's not enough time in this world to complete everything, especially as I have two very massive assignments due this month. I'm hoping to mainly focus just on my Spookathon TBR. Anything I read after that is 100% a bonus. So let's just jump right into it. So Spookathon, it runs all month long and the theme is a Halloween party. The reason why I picked this one is because the prompts seem really fun, are quite general, so I could pretty much pick any book I wanted. And the goal is to read as many books as you like and to create a Halloween party. So the first set of prompts are for the costume. So the first costume I picked was fantasy costume, and that is to read a fantasy. For this I could honestly pick up most of my shelf, but I specifically wanted to read Shadow of the Fox by Chuli Kagawa. This was on my TBR for last month, but I still really want to read it, especially after reading the Wicked Fox series. This follows Japanese mythology and a half kitsune, so similar to the Wicked Fox. I'm really excited to read this. I have read from Julie before and I loved her book, so I definitely want to pick up this series as I have it all now. I can marathon it if I really enjoy it. So this will be for a fantasy costume, and it's also a beautiful cover that could honestly inspire a nice costume. I also picked couples costume, which is to read a romance, and for this I picked Blood and Honey by Shelby Moran. I was so in love with Serpent and Dove, so I'm really excited to jump into the sequel. I honestly hope I love it as much as the first book. Like Serpent and Dove, there has been so many mixed reviews on this book. I just hope I fit in the category of love it instead of hate it. So this picks right back up for the end of the second book, following Lou and Reed again. I can't wait to explore what's going to happen. It's a chonker of a book, but I read Serpent and Dove in a day, and I think that was like 520 something pages, so I hope I really read this fast as well, because I love reading a lot of books in a month, so the quicker it takes me to read a book, the better it is. The next section is refreshment, and for this I picked actually two books for the eyeball soup prompt, which is a cover you can't stop eyeballing. The first book I picked for this prompt is The Storm of Life by Amy Rose Capita. I love this cover so much. How beautiful is that? It's amazing. And it's this gorgeous yellow cover underneath, so it's just stunning all around. And this is the sequel to The Brilliant Death, and it's also a duology, so this is the finale of that duology. And I'm really interested to see how it all ends, so I'm really hoping to pick this up. The other book I picked for Eyeball Soup is Cinderella is Dead by Kaylin Barron. This seems like the perfect October book, as it is about Cinderella being dead. And once again, this is also a beautiful cover. I actually read like the first couple of lines and it hooked me straight away, so this might be my next read. It just starts with Cinderella has been dead for 200 years. I've been in love with Erin for the better part of 3 years. So it's a female romance, and it just seems so interesting, and even the front says it's wholly original and captivating, so I'm really excited to jump into this book. The next set of prompts is Dance Floor, and for this I picked I Put a Spell on You, which is a book with magic. And once again, I've got two books for the same prompt, and the first book is Boundary Side by Robert Jackson Bennett. I have been wanting to pick this up for the longest time, but I just keep putting it off. It's got a really interesting magic system. I think something about inanimate objects holding power. It just looks really interesting, so I'm hoping to get to this book in October. And also I picked for I Put a Spell on You is The Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart. This is about bone magic, so another really interesting magic system. I only got my copy a couple of days ago, so that's why I had to put it in this TBR somewhere. It was on my most anticipated list for 2020. I've just seen that Sarah J Maas blurbed it. She said one of the best fantasy novels I read in a long time, so let's see if we can trust her opinion. This seems really interesting, really unique, and I also can't wait to read this one. And I also believe these both have female romances in it too. Correct me if I'm wrong. That just intrigues me even more. And the last set of prompts is Festivity, and for this I picked Bobbing for Apple, which is Sink Your Teeth into a Tome. And for this I actually picked The Name of All Things by Jen Lyons. I picked this because I either can reread Ruin of Kings or just jump straight into this. It's just calling to me, this series again, so I'm definitely going to sink my teeth in this big tome. I believe it is 587 pages long, and it's a tall paperback, so definitely counts as a tome. This is following from The Ruin of Kings. I pre-ordered Memory of Souls, so I definitely need to read this very soon. So those are all the books I picked for my Spookathon. I don't know if it's Spookathon or Spookathon TBR, but I'm really excited about all of them. This just seems to be better and better releases happening this year. I think we've been blessed with books. It's the only good thing that's happened this year, honestly. If I complete all those books, I would love to also read Leviathan Wakes by James S. Corey. I've been really wanting to jump into a sci-fi series. This just sounds really interesting. A lot of people like this. It's very popular, and so I thought I would give it a go and see how I like it, because I'm still learning what type of sci-fi I like. I know I like The Long Way to Small Angry Planet, but that's not much to go off of. So I'm really hoping to try this and see if I like a more complex sci-fi. I am also hoping to read Stormfront by Jim Butcher. This is I believe a fantasy following a PI, which is always a classic. I've heard great things about this series, so I'm hoping I like it too, because I'm always looking for new series to follow. So thank you so much for watching. I seem to have, this TBR contains a lot of big books, but I'm really hoping I can get through all of them, as I want to read more this month, as I didn't read as much as I usually do last month, which is fine. We all have our ups and downs. So let me know if you're joining any readathons. Let me know what book you're really excited to read in October. I'd love to know, because I always love hearing what other people like to read. Honestly, TBRs are like one of my favorite things to watch, because I'm nosy and I want to see what everyone else is reading in the month, and like if anything overlaps, I can just pretend I'm budding reading with someone. So if you want to buddy read with any of these books with me, I would love to do it, because it's always great to have a friend to read and encourage you to pick up that book that you want to read but it's kind of daunting. So I'll leave all the links down below to the people I mentioned. So once again, thank you for watching, and I better get back to reading. Bye!
And shivers down your spine. Shrieking skulls will shock